Hello folks, warm welcome to another video. I hope this one finds you fat and happy. Well, not too fat. We do have an obesity crisis, don't we, in the Western... Well, I think we've passed the point of crisis. It's an absolute epidemic, don't we, in the Western world. Nothing to laugh about. It's a tragedy. Although, for it to be a tragedy, this kind of implies an element that stuff happened that you couldn't control. And I'm afraid that, in general, broad terms, the obesity epidemic is something we absolutely could control. And continues to get worse. This video's got off to a really interesting start. Completely made up, folks. No script involved. I think that's pretty obvious. Folks, welcome to another video, and welcome to a Modders Monday episode that will be published on a Monday. What a concept. And it's a video that's going to feature this little bug smasher. This is a Cessna 152. It's a modded 152, which I've featured, I think, in a video, an older version of this, on the channel a long time ago. Can't remember too much about it, but I can barely remember my own name most days. If you're really interested, I'm sure you'll find it on the channel somewhere. But this is a new version. This is version 2 of the WBSim JPLogistics mod for the Cessna 172 here in the Microsoft Sim. And we thought we'd give it a bit of a run. And this is a little bit special, this flight. This is a bit of my way of showing appreciation for appreciation that was shown to me. It's an appreciation fest, you might say. I had a very kind viewer, and I've got a number of, many, I would suspect, kind viewers to this channel. But this guy took time out of his day to send me a very kind message of appreciation and support. And he happens to hail from this locale. I wonder if he's going to recognise it. I'm not sure that we're exactly in the location in which you reside, my friend. I'm not going to mention your name or too much information, but well, I don't have much information. I do have your email address, and I do know that you hail from roughly this part of the world. Should I tell you where we are? Let me show you on a map. Let's go there. Righto, little nav map. We are in the United States. Now, I don't get over here that often here on the channel. I probably fly in the US more than what my videos would suggest I do. Spent many hours over the years in different parts of the US. Today, X marks the spot. If X is a little yellow aeroplane, we're in kind of western Montana, not too far from the border with Idaho here, and we're kind of in a place called Anaconda. Now, I'm guessing that this kind subscriber hails from somewhere in this area, based on what they shared with me in that message. So it's not a perfect match, I don't think. Well, it could be. Oh, I might have got this absolutely right. Just picked a place out of my ass. Anaconda. That's where we begin our journey anyway. I don't know where we're going to end up. We're kind of just going to fly around the valleys and the hills here of western Montana, United States. Never got to Montana in real life. Almost did. A bit of a story there. I wish I could remember it. It involves a woman, but they always do, don't they? I just can't quite remember the circumstances that had me planning to go to Montana. I don't quite remember why or where I was going to go. Yeah, it might come to me. It might come to me during the flight, but then again, it probably won't. And there's probably a good reason why it shouldn't. Anyway, folks, we're in western Montana. We're flying the modded 152. Let's get it started and get flying. All right, as usual, I do have company. It will sound like the cargo area of the 152 is full of feathered friends. Folks, that's what you get here on the channel. And look, thank you for those of you that make humorous remarks on the birds. One in particular I read this morning. Nice gag, mate. Gave me a bit of a chuckle. As does this beautiful woman. She's back. Jude is available here in this aircraft. How are you, my love?
Long time no see. Thanks for bringing me back.
It has been a while. Jude, can I ask you while I've got you? In fact, let me just give the viewers the full Jude. That sounds like code name for a sex move. Give me the full Jude. Anyway, Jude, can I ask you? Do you like birds, Jude?
You know, I've always liked a cockatoo.
I bet. Good answer, Jude. Folks, I'm going to take you through this mod in sort of two phases during this video. I'm going to show you, I'll share later on as we get into the cruise and get Georgie doing some flying. I'll show you what the mod page looks like. But while I've got you here, we're in the VC, I'll just show you the tablet, which I think is fantastic. This is free. This is a free mod. And, yeah, very impressed by what I see so far. Just the fact that I can have company is nice. And you can configure a whole lot of stuff. Now, I've got a view set up down here. Here's the tablet. We're right in Jude's lap. Now, focus on the screen, folks. Don't be tempted to go down here. Many men have and live to regret it. Stick with the tablet. Here's what you can do. So, it's got state saving. That's nice. Realism. I don't quite know what that means. We might find out by crashing. Show pilot. I can turn myself on and off, if only it was as easy as a switch. And the show the co-pilot, which in this case is our friend Jude. Exterior, we can configure some stuff if we want to put covers and chocks on. We don't want to do that today. Maintenance, you can do some stuff. You can charge the battery, you can fill the oil, and it tells you that we've got a 100% engine health. Brand new aeroplane. Instrument wise, you can configure stuff. So let me zoom out a little bit. I have configured it with an autopilot. Completely unrealistic for a Cessna 152. I flew a few of these birds IRL, I can assure you. None of the birds I flew had digital instruments, let alone an autopilot. But you can turn that on and off if you want. Don't want autopilot? Want realism? There you go. I want an autopilot. GTN 750. I've got the PMS one installed. I'm assuming that it works with that other payware thing. Don't know. If you take it off, you get the digital stack. There you go. I'm going to put it back on. I guess if you turn it off, you can also add your DME and you get an ADF and all that sort of stuff. You can also have an EGT gauge, which appears here where the clock is. Let me show you that. EGT, boom, there it is. I'm going to get the clock back on. So some nice little settings. Really simple, easy to read, easy to configure. Payload. I got my weight set at 77 kilos. I wish. Jude, 60. You put on a few pounds.
Yep, and every pound of me tastes sweeter than the last.
Fair enough. Front baggage, rear baggage. Oh, we're going to leave those as empty. The left main and the right main, you can configure your fuel like this. How about I'll just add a bit. Add 400 mil in each side, just because I can. Empty weight, your fuel max, your payload, we're all good. Total max, we're well under and we're good. Now we can configure it for cold and dark or ready for flight. Alright, so if I click ready for flight, what should happen is that some stuff should happen here. Throttles, mixtures, start, all that sort of stuff. Go outside. The engine will probably start. It'll try. There it is. Light goes on, all automatic stuff. Oh, I see the window open, remains open. Right? I don't like that. I want it cold and dark. I want to get back to basics. So cold and dark, turns everything off. Resets everything. Opens the door, the window, all that sort of stuff. Nice. I like to have the choice. So that's look, that's impressive for me. Freeware mod, love it. I'm going to get us started. I'll do it old school, and out onto a runway here in where were we? We're in Montana. That's right, folks. We'll see you on the runway. All right. So engine start has been achieved here in Anaconda, Montana. Now, where's our windsock? Come around here. There it is. Alright. Not too bad. Right, so if we basically backtrack down to the bottom of that runway, need to make a sort of a tight left turn here, and away we go. We've got the runways clear of the snow. I think Asobo kindly brought that in as part of the latest update, didn't they? One of those bugbears that the community has reported for a long time. We've got a view set up out here. I'll give it a little bit of juice. Trying to remember how to fly this thing. Been flying very different aeroplanes to little bug smashers of late. It's always good though to be back in something like this, an aircraft that view there was quite familiar to me. We've lost our for some reason we've lost our electricals. They're back on now. Too much of a drain perhaps. Don't know what quite was going on there. I had the old starter switch engaged for too long, but now we're back on. So runway, looks like runway 22 will be our departure runway here this morning. Alright, maybe a little bit of aileron into the breeze and all of that, mate. Keep it straight. Relatively easy to taxi. Very 152-ish. It's been many a year since I've been in one, but from what I remember, feels about right. A little bit of breeze. The breeze seems to be sort of shifting a little bit more towards the south. We've got a southerly here off runway 22, so there'll be a slight crosswind. Don't know where we're going, as I mentioned. Barely know where we are. Who knows where we'll end up? We'll touch down somewhere. But as I mentioned earlier, this is my way of showing appreciation for the kindness shared with me, and it's a reminder to me and an encouragement that I offer to you all, the importance or the value of a kind word shared with another person. We live in a world that's a bit cruel at times, and seemingly full of hate as well at times, and perpetuated by people with bad motivation too. That division that is created by certain members of society or cohorts within society. And you can blame the political class and the media and all sorts of stuff, but we have a responsibility as individuals as well. The ordinary working folk of the world, we don't have to abide. We don't have to buy into that hate. We do have a choice. It may be the only way forward for the survival of our species, folks. I know that's a little bit deep here for a flight simulation video, but what can I say? The old fella gets reflected in his old age, and yeah. Anyway, thank you again to that kind viewer for the message, and by implication for the idea to come and spend some time virtually in your part of the world. So we'll align our heading bug roughly to there. Now we're at decent old height here, eh? 5'2" and a bit elevation here in Montana. Have to watch these hills. Beautiful day here. Let me just take an external. Absolutely gorgeous day. Loving it. Let's go flying, eh? Here we go. We'll give it some juice. How do you fly a 152? It's full juice, right? Last time I checked. Probably need to lean out the mixture a little bit. We're at 5'2". Get a maximum power. See if we can keep this rolling straight. Go full power. We've got ourselves lean back a little bit. We'll call that power set. We're getting about 23 RPM. We've got airspeed alive. Not exactly a rocket, the 152. Just release a little bit of that aileron pressure. About 60 knots. We can rotate. Should be able to rotate here. We can. Now climb out at about 70 and retrim for that. Different perspective when you've been flying high performance aeroplanes. Very, very different. Full power climb up to whatever. Probably get to about 7 or something like that. We've got some high voltage power lines here. Yeah, 70's best rate. 152, I think. Oh, feels good. Feels like a 152. Sluggish as hell. When you're two up and a fair bit of juice in the tank, she's a sluggish old aeroplane. Not going to set any records, climb records. 70 knots. We're climbing out at about 800 feet a minute. That's not too bad. All right, we'll continue the climb. Yeah, up to about 7, folks. Might do a left turn here on the crosswind or something, because I can. We'll find some space out here to the south of the field. Do a little bit of air work. Let Georgie do some flying, and we'll have a look at what the mod page looks like. All right, we're settled in the cruise here at 7. I worked out what you needed to do with the autopilot, and you may have seen in the previous segment that it was flashing the barometric pressure. Just click the baro button before you can use the autopilot. Then you can do all the autopilot-y stuff. So Georgie's in command. We are sort of shuffling our way through the sky a little bit. It's not a perfectly smooth flight. I think that's very realistic. We've got heading bug or heading hold mode, and we'll just turn out more to the east here. Take an external for you. There it is. We sort of came from over in that direction somewhere. Lots of white here, eh? Hey, look, it feels very much like a 152, which is, I guess, what you'd hope for, eh? With it being a mod for the 152. So, liking it so far. Let me bring up the page where you can download this mod from. And here is said page over on the .to. I'll line up the text for you. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to read on the screen. So the time has come. V2 is finally here. It does not replace the default Cessna 152. It creates a new aircraft, including a tail dragger variant, for those of you. I always liked the look, like this one here. I always liked the look of the 152 as a tail dragger for some reason. I don't know, I'm weird. Anyway, we're not flying the tail dragger today. So, the install instructions, blah blah blah, pretty simple stuff. It's extract the zip and put it in your community folder. The change log is really the important bit. Does all that stuff. I won't mention each and every line, but you can explore that at your leisure. They've done some tweaking to the engine to align speeds and fuels with the POH. Corrected a few things. Working circuit breakers that may trip. That's nice, hey? And incorporated the GTN 750 selectable instruments. We saw all that in the tablet, and so that's available. I do note that there's some people down here highly rated, 4.78 based on almost 200 reviews. So that's pretty decent. There are some people that are talking about having trouble starting the engine. Make sure the fuel's on. That helps. Too sensitive with the intensity of the wind. Well, you saw that in this video. For mine, perfectly acceptable and felt quite okay. But others may be experiencing clearly other issues. Whole lot of stuff. Anyway, that will be linked to in the description for you if you want to pick this up and fly a modded Cessna 172, 152 even. It's now available. I will find a place to put us down and make an approach. And that place is going to be Kilo Bravo Tango Mike, which is Bert Mooney, maybe his backyard. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if the subscriber was actually a guy called Bert Mooney? I don't know what his name is. I don't think it's Bert, based on what he shared with me. But maybe he knows Bert Mooney. Maybe there's a story about Bert Mooney. I'm sure there is. Feel free to share it in the comments if you know it. But that's where we're headed. We're 7 miles from there. I just picked it because it's the nearest airport, and it's somewhere down out there. Anyone see an airport? Well, it's just the kind of place in the world where you kind of have to know, you have to have that local knowledge. It's kind of hidden, And you find locations based on airports and roofs and sheds and trees and, you know, that sort of stuff. It's hidden because they don't want those pesky foreigners, particularly from Australia, visiting, even in the virtual sense. But there's got to be an airport down here somewhere, eh? Obscured by the white stuff, which doesn't help. Anyone see a strip? Probably have to fly right on top of it to see it. We're 5 miles, so it's kind of out there. I'm going to stay at 7 for the moment. Don't know what the field elevation is. I probably could find that out, eh? Waypoint info. It's 5.5. But Montana, or is it Butty? Is it Buddy or Butt?
It's neither, dickhead.
I don't know. I kind of want it to be Butt Montana. Anyway, folks, we'll see you for the final approach. Righto. So we found the runway. There it is. There, nicely cleared from snow for us. We're about what are we? About 1,500, about 1,300 above field elevation now. There's the town of Butt, Montana. Yes, folks, I may say it again before this flight is ended. I don't mean any offence to the good residents of this part of the world at not pronouncing your lovely town incorrectly. I do apologise. But as Jude knows all too well, I don't mind a bit of but. Hey, Jude.
You're enjoying this mispronunciation a little too much.
Sorry, Jude. 80 knots, folks. We're on a kind of a right base to whatever that runway is going to be. Down in that direction. Looks like we've got a cross strip as well, but we'll just take the main. That's a nice long runway here. Decent sized town, by the looks of it, eh? Look, it's a flap out. So yeah, look, nice mod. Only been a short flight. Georgie's done most of the flying, but look, for me, kind of feels like a 152 close enough. Make that view again. Maybe a little bit higher, take another stage of flap. What are you approaching the 152? About 70 knots, something like that? Maybe 65? I'm hearing an old flying instructor of mine had a tendency to sort of add 5 knots to whatever the published speeds were. I think it made him feel a little bit safer. You'd read in the book, you know, 65, 70, mate, 70 safer. He said, not. Really. You should be taught to fly the right speeds for mine. There's 60 knots, and we'll take final stage. A flap there. We're going to get a nice big sink. Real big sink there. Maybe just adjust that mixture. 60 knots, there we go. I don't know what the wind's doing exactly. We don't have a wind display on our GTN. Haven't set that up in this aeroplane. 60 knots indicated, about right. A little bit of juice. Runway 1, is it 16? Feels like we might have a little bit of a right crosswind. 15 even, there we go. Yeah, we do have a right crosswind. Here we go, and see how it flares. Look how it feels in the flare anyway. Crawling in here. We'll go to idle, just slowly bring that power back into a bit of a flare. Low flares. There we go, low flare. Hold it off a little bit. Hold it off, that's going to be a nice big balloon. Ooh, not very nice at all there. Folks, my sincere apologies. Things got real loud real quick there on the rollout. I do apologise, but I just wanted to jump back in and say thank you for your company, and thank you to everyone for your kindness and your support to this old fella in the course of making these silly videos. It is very much appreciated, and I strongly suggest that you take an opportunity, as many opportunities as you can, to share a kind word, share appreciation with each other. It really does make a difference. Anyway, folks, until next time, I bid you farewell from Butt, Montana.
For God's sake, it's Butte.